Just have kids as a result. Another time a girl came over and said, "Why am I here?" She thought God put her here for some reason. That's because your father didn't use a condom. But you're not here to direct the world. That's an ego trip. When a person thinks they're here to help make the world a better place, that feels good. But the earth is neither good nor bad. It shakes, it kills people. There are tornadoes, lightning kills people. So whatever happens is real. What you think should have happened is not real. So you suffer not by the world, but your projections of what the world should be. You see, people are killed in automobile accidents today, more than all the wars. But nobody had designed cars not to hit each other. There are medals, which I don't have here with me now, called memory medals. How many of you heard of them? I'm glad you saw the video then. Well, there are medals with a memory. They now make a fabric with a memory, and the doctor ties a surgical knot, and then he straightens out the fabric, and he sticks it to the skin, and the heat of the body causes it to tie a surgical knot. Interesting. Yes?
Hi. I'm sorry to be so persistent with a really sensitive question, but, as you remember, my last question I was talking about fascism and the feeling that we're all living in increasingly oppressive circumstances. Earlier you mentioned Noah's Ark. Do you think we need to be making some kind of Noah's Ark to ensure the continued survival of the movement?
Do you think we need to be making some Noah's Ark to continue the survival of the Zeitgeist movement and the Venus Project?
Well, I can answer that question indirectly. A very wealthy group came over to my lab one day and said, "Can you design a city for us that would be sustainable with a high wall around it, photoelectric cells, heat concentrators?"
Talking about a prototype of the Venus Project?
No, somebody came to see me and wanted to know if I could design a city for them that would be sustainable under a wide range of negative conditions. So I said that in the old days, yes, but today people can launch crap over your wall, and if they see you all eating there, they'll invade, the minorities will invade any community that's sustainable. So you can't live to yourself anymore. You must invite all the nations to join in common heritage, share the earth's resources. Where do you think America got America from? It stole it from the Indians and Spain and Mexico. After America stole all the land we needed, we then put up a sign, "Thou shalt not steal." Now this is true of England. They said the sun never sets on it. Where the hell they get all that land? You think people said, "Come on over, take some of our land, enjoy it"? No, they took it, and they killed people. And U.S. does the same thing over and over again. All the established countries kill to get land, then they tell you not to steal. When we won the war with Germany, we stole their rockets and brought them to Wright Field. Then we kidnapped their engineers and brought them over to America. Government does whatever the hell it wants to do. If you kill somebody, watch out. Because you don't live in a sane world. There's no such thing as civilization yet. You all believe that, well, nowadays we're civilized. In the old days they weren't. No, we're not yet. As long as there's war, poverty, hunger, deprivation, we're not civilized. Now, if communism wins, they have an ideal, but they don't know what to do once they get in. They don't know how to make mass housing or grow food or transportation. They don't know how to do prefabricated houses. So your problems are not political, they're technical. Everything that you have, your electric lights, your eyeglasses, your automobiles, your airplanes, are all technical. No congressman or senator ever increased the food supply for the nation. They never devised any safety devices, traffic lights or anything. What the hell do they do? They don't know anything. They can't do anything. Politicians have never been able. There's not one politician that made safer houses that don't burn, or new fire engines or something. Make nothing. Kennedy, everybody loved Kennedy. He was a nothing guy.
Jacque,
By nothing, I mean doesn't do anything.
question
Yes.
over here.
Yes.
I've heard that you once joined the Ku Klux Klan, or one
Yes.
group of the Ku Klux Klan, in order to
Yes.
change their opinions.
Yes.
How did you do that?
Well, how many of you want to hear that? How I changed the Ku Klux Klan? Well, there was a guy that had a war surplus store. His name was Lou Merlin. He's dead now. He was a member of the Klan because he always talked to me a little bit about it. Then one day he said to me, "You're a smart guy. What do you think of the Klan, the Ku Klux Klan?" I said it was a great organization, but it didn't go far enough. That'll go, what do you mean? If you attack, it doesn't work. Always say, it's a great idea, but it doesn't go far enough. I said, what do you mean? Then you can do what you want to do. So if you use logic, it doesn't work. Logic is bullshit. Never works. Anyway, what happened with Lou Merlin? He said, what do you do with all the lenses you buy from my surplus store? I said, I have a lab and I experiment with them. He says, I'd like to see it. So I took him to my lab, and he was so impressed. He said, Jacque, will you come on down to the Klan, that's what he spoke, and tell them about what you're doing? I think you're a smart guy. So I said to Lou Merlin, they won't listen to me. He says, I'll get them to listen to you. I'm in charge of that group. So he said, I want you guys to listen to Jacque. And then when he gets to, if you have any questions, you can ask him. And he forced them to listen. So I said to Lou, how is it that you can look at a person, that's what he did, and tell us all about him, and he never knew the guy. He could look at a person, that guy doesn't think, this guy is lazy, just by looking at him. I said, Lou, will you teach us how to do that? He said, come on down to Klan meeting, I'll teach you how to do that. I didn't think I can teach you anything, Jacque. I said, well, you can teach me that if it works. So I came down to the Klan with photographs, and I projected them onto a screen. And Lou said, this man you projected, he looks like a good citizen. He looks like a patriot, a war veteran. All projection, his own values, into the character. I said, Lou, is there anything else you can add to that? He said, no. So I pulled the bottom of the picture out, which I got in the post office. Wanted by the FBI for subversive action against the United States. And Lou didn't know how to behave, but the group was laughing at him for the first time. He always said a lot of things, but nothing was ever put to test, you know. So I said to the guys, you guys stop laughing at Lou. We all make mistakes. So Lou made a mistake this time. If I didn't defend Lou, it wouldn't work. That's called strategy. It's called human engineering. Some people can't understand reason, so you have to use engineering. So anyway, I then said, Lou, I'm going to do another test to give you a chance. And it's a record we had in the old days. The record ran about 15 minutes. The first 10 minutes, a guy was talking in an Oxford accent about aeronautics. And he said, he couldn't see the guy, it's just a record of voice. Has a heavy Oxford accent. He's talking about aeronautics. Lou says, I see a skinny Englishman with a bald head and thick eyeglasses. You know, he's projecting his own values. Then the image comes on later. It's a black guy raised in England. Look now. He's goddamn nigger talking like an Englishman. I said, no, Lou, that black man was brought up in England. He's brought up in Germany. He speaks with a German accent. He says, you mean to say niggers behave like niggers because they're brought up in a nigger environment? This is his language, you know what? I said, that's it, Lou. If I took your kids and brought it up in that neighborhood, they talk just like niggers. That's right, you're right, mm-hmm. If black people talk that way, your kid would talk that way if you were white, if I raised him with a black family. Do you understand that? So Lou said, I can't believe that. So I showed him some movies of dogs being trained and animals being, I used to train dogs to lead the blind. They used to walk with a white stick when I was a kid. So I used to train the dog to lead them. And a sweet old lady would walk over and pet the dog and say, what a nice dog. And I say, no, I could have trained that dog to tear soldiers to pieces or help the blind. Dogs are neither good nor bad, neither are people. They reflect their culture. So the Southerners used to go out and shoot niggers in the ass. This was their experiment. They get in a car, policemen shooting blacks in the behind because they can get away with it. And so I never could talk to them. If I even try to mention something, you'd be a nigger lover from the north. You understand? So I got to see as a kid how people get to be the way they are. If you're brought up with an Irish family, you say, well, you look at the Irish like, he's a fine boy. You speak with that brogue. And if you're brought up in Italy, you say, come on, eat, this is good food. See, that's normal to that country. So all of us are victims of culture. When we say, why can't people think their way out? Well, at the University of Princeton, somebody finally got up and said, I think man can think. Another guy, he said, Nikola Tesla invented the wireless. No wires connected. Where did he get that from? There's nothing in nature like that. So I told him, I said, when you bought electric wire from an electric store years ago, they used to push it in a bag. But if you wind it around a cardboard spool, it doesn't get tangled up. But sometimes the wire was broken. So they connected two clips to the ends to see if a current would flow through. And it means the wire wasn't broken. Many years later, if you bought fine wire, they wrapped it around a small spool, and they put it inside the big spool. So when you tested the big spool, see if the wire was broken, it induced the current in the spool not connected. That's where Tesla got it from. If you don't understand me, if you put one coil of wire near another coil and run electric current, it induces a current in the other coil. That's where Tesla got it from. Nobody ever invented anything radical. It's so serially developed, so slowly, you can't see the connection. So when they tell you things like Nikola Tesla or any other man was ahead of his time, not true. Invention spoke to people that talked of gears and levers. They didn't speak to the average person. So their environment was different. They say, how can you invent so many things? You have an inventive mind. Or they say, you are gifted. If you're gifted, why the hell give them any credit for it? You know, it's like a beauty contest. If a girl wins a beauty contest, I'm against that because she didn't make her face. She had her face made of mud, and she shapes it and straightens it out. Worked 5 years on it, you can give her a medal. But why the hell give a person a prize? Because they inherit ability. Nobody inherits anything. That's bullshit too. All that you inherit from your parents is the shape of the nose, the color of the eyes, or genetic characteristics. But you don't inherit values. Those are learned. Stay away from the Swedes. They're dumb. Get a dumb Polak to clean out your cellar. That's where you get it from. You get it from your environment. No kid was ever born speaking Chinese, even though that civilization had been speaking Chinese for centuries. No Chinese baby ever came out and spoke Chinese. They had to go to school. No American baby or English baby or German baby ever spoke German without training. So they assumed that if you took a Chinese baby and a Greek baby, the Chinese baby would learn Chinese faster. They tried it. They both learned at the same rate. So you don't inherit characteristics that your parents learned. You can inherit the color of the eyes, the shape of the lips, the ears, physical diseases. You can inherit propensity toward heart disease, but you can't inherit learned information. Okay, another question.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would like to ask you a question. I think all of us knows about the natural tragedy was happening in the Gulf of Mexico. And I would like to ask your opinion. Do you think that this event can ignite humanity finally to start changing from the fossil resources to one of those resources what you mentioned in the movie? Because now everyone can see what oil can cause in the world.
Well, if you know what shapes human behavior, you can design a society. For example,
Jacque, the question is the tragedy in the Gulf of Mexico with the oil. Do you think that will generate people to stop using fossil fuels and go to a different source
no,
of
it
clean
just
source of
helps a
energy?
little. but it doesn't put an end to it. The oil companies,
Or mainly put pressure on government from people who see.
yes, the oil companies control the media, and to a large extent, they can countermeasure that. You know, I don't say it doesn't help, it helps, but really the problem is, what do you do with oil spills? That's really a problem, not is it the oil company. The oil companies are in business to make money, and they want oil used. If you have solar energy, it's a threat to the oil companies. So they say it's not that efficient. Whatever they say, they could be lies, rumors. As long as you get them out there, you can delay it. Do you understand? There are electric companies out here, they're trying to harness the Thames River, put turbines under the water. So as the tide flows in, they generate electricity. As it flows out, generates electricity. But the electric companies don't like that. You understand that? Any company doesn't like anything new because it's a threat. If you have a plastic company and it took you $3 million to outfit the plant, you want to wait till you can amortize your cost back before you change your machinery to something else. You got to get what you put in back. So the whole world is delayed, and we live in a very primitive culture because we still kill people. The electric chair, or we give them lethal injections. As George Carlin once said, we use cotton sanitized with alcohol before we give them a lethal injection. So I'm trying to tell you how stupid our society is. So when a person said to me, will there be horror movies in the future? It'd be any movie about any society would be a horror movie. If to the future, you understand? Yes.
Yeah, the Venus project, for example, say it gets to go ahead tomorrow. What are there in the way of plans, technical schematics and stuff like that to put it to practice straight away?
Are there any blueprints to put the Venus project into practice if we could do it tomorrow?
We could have done it in 1927.
What kind of blueprints? He's asking if there are blueprints to put it in.
Well, we have drawings, and we burned a lot of blueprints about a year ago because we were going to move to another country. So I had blueprints on skyscrapers, machines to do the work of people, many blueprints. But I can do them over again. So we make movies now showing people what life could be like, because they want to know, what will life be like in Venus? If machines do everything, what will people do? Well, people go, I don't know if you know this, we have shopping centers in the States, and kids hang out there. From high school and college, they hang out in the shopping malls. There should be art centers, music centers, places for kids to go. They have no place to go.
Also,
The system is very
did
stupid.
you ask that, Ben, about the blueprints?